No, I was working at Panavision at the time, and I was just doing a lot of, like, you guys have heard this a million times already. But I was doing music videos and commercials and stuff, and they dug it, and they called me up and had me come down to the studio.
It was a good story. This is the interesting. Okay, I haven't been here all week, so a lot of you guys have been to these other showings like this. So first of all, thank you so much. This is I flew in from England last night, so I got here last night. I'm getting all the photos and all of these astronauts. You guys did such a great job. So thank you. But I'm going to tell you a little story from my point of view. When we started the band, we wanted to do a movie, right? We wanted to take the message onto different mediums. And then Adam, our drummer, through a buddy of his, had this promo reel, right? Like there's like soccer players and gladiators in there, and there's all these really rad shots. We're like, man, this guy's talented. Maybe he can just do like some really cool visuals for this record.
I remember when we were sitting there talking about like the first time ever, we were like sitting there by your computer, and like a screensaver came on this computer, and it was like all these lights moving. It's like, even if it's stuff like this.
So we said, okay, let's do some really cool imagery, right? Let's tie it together, and hopefully it kind of helps set the tonality for what we wanted the message in the band to have. Okay, so we get him to quit a killer job. We got him to quit, like, you don't quit a job like the one he had, basically, but he did. And we gave him a tiny bit amount of money, and then we just did later, and then he comes back like 2 years later with this thing that's like way better than we expected it to be, and way more ambitious, but he just needed more in it. He needed more resources, and so we did it. We said, go for it, and then it was almost done. Then that's when you guys probably heard about it coming out with that last record, I Empire. That was the point where we thought it was going to come out then, and then we're like, man, this can be so much bigger. So got him a little bit more resources, and we made another plan. And even then we weren't done, because then you came back, oh my God, we have this thing. At that time, it was like a year ago, probably. We were like, okay, let's start submitting some festivals, and then we said, no, we need an epic Civil War battle. And this guy's like sweating. He's like, I just fucking built a space station. You know? And I mean, literally, like thousands and thousands of pieces that he's sawing. One other dude up here in Santa Barbara, like him and his brother, maybe a friend, you know? And then I'm all like, I show up, and I've been on tour, I'm like, hey, go get like a Civil War battle or something. Yeah, call me when you're done, you know? But not really, but that's what he did, and that whole intro of the film, that Civil War scene was the last thing that we got, that he spent 4 months planning and building. Even his mom was like painting out there, and he built all those mine sequences and those walls, and he killed all those people so we can have those bodies. No, I wanted to speak for this guy here, because we put in a lot of work, but this guy put in like a stupid amount of work. So we're really good. So that's how it started, and that's how we got here. And hopefully I answered all your questions, if that makes any sense. But sorry. I was excited to say something. I haven't been here.
Well, Tom, did you work on the soundtrack for the film as well, or?
Yeah, we did the soundtrack. You know, we originally thought, we weren't sure what we were going to do. You know, we thought like, obviously we put our music in the film, but it didn't, we ended up like halfway through it realizing that we didn't want to distract the audience with our normal music and have me singing all over these, you know, the movie itself was we always tell people that the message is bigger than the band, you know, and I think this film really shows that. So we didn't want it to be just about us, you know, so we didn't put any singing in there. It was really just all these compositions that were either taken from the record or wrote new ones that are coming out with this movie on a double album. So there's going to be all this other music that we used to heard in the film, but we all did it, and really fun too. Like, you know, I've never done that before, where you get to. We would watch the movie and create these feelings with it. It was really inspiring as a musician to do it that way.
And I think the cool part is too, since it's not cool that it took so long, but I think part of that process was a lot of the themes and the things that we were going through and building and pieces like the band was always able to see kind of what was evolving. So cues and pieces of score were always kind of being developed as the process went along, which was really, you know, you don't really get that much time to think about these things sometimes. You just go, okay, here's 1 month, make it, you know. So
he would challenge us too, because he would come with temp music that'd be like something like this, and we'd be like, you know, we don't normally just do stuff like that, but it really challenged us to write in different ways. So I think that all of us learned a bit during the past. How long was it? 15 years, maybe?
26. But also, I just really quickly want to thank my family for building all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I never mentioned all these other things. Ben Ballard, who taught me, he's the guy who taught me what a compound miter angle was from a compound, or from a miter angle. So thanks, Ben. And he's also in the film.
I gotta thank your parents too, because like literally for years, I'm sure they were like, okay, this dude comes into your life and he like makes you quit your job and then you start building crazy shit in our driveway. You know, but they've been so supportive. So this is like, you guys don't understand how hard it is to make a movie, and that's the coolest thing about this is like, you know, you watch this shit and sometimes you think it's fairly simple, but you can go out and film an entire movie with the cameras and the lights, and just to set up one shot, just to get him with a pencil could take like an hour to get that shot ready or some shit. And even when it's completely done, you have no sound. It's just moving pictures. So then you gotta do all this sound, and a lot of times you gotta do the dialogue again to get it even clearer. Then you gotta do all the sound effects, and then you gotta do all the music, and then you gotta mix it all, and it's so difficult. And to think, you know, what Will was able to do, you know, with nothing, you know, I mean, because we're not a big studio, you know, and that's the cool thing about independent film. That's the whole idea of it, is that these people are making these films with nothing, you know. They're just not doing Civil War scenes and space scenes and spaceships, and there's a reason why, because it's hard, you know. I think Will and I are the only ones that know how to build a spaceship.
And Mark knows how to do it now.
Mark actually got in there too.
Yeah. It's so funny because we'd be like trying to get the right depth to put a screw, and we would get it and be like, is that right? And then Mark would be like, it's fine.
Well, Will and Gunnar, can you guys talk about the collaborative process between you two and how you guys worked on visually creating this descent into madness, creating this feeling of isolation, and also Gunnar as an actor, how you approached it and how you worked with Will on that?
Yeah, actually, first off, and to be able to say this in front of Tom, being here with his fans, it was really his music that started this whole project. I mean, in my opinion, Heaven, Love Like Rockets, Letters to God 2, they're cinematic metaphors for, you know, something special, and the music happens to be the byline. So Will had approached me in 2007 and said, hey man, listen, after we'd done a little work together, and said, hey, Tom DeLonge, I don't know if you know him. I said, yeah, I know who he is. Approached me with this project, and we think you might be great for the astronaut, and started to tell me some of his ideas from the very beginning based on some of the feeling, the music. Was it Love Like Rockets? It kind of...
Yeah, the first time I ever sat down with you guys, we were sitting on the couch in that little older studio apartment. You played me Love Like Rockets, and that's the song that I started turning my head and was thinking about a guy going up to space and getting...
Which is amazing, really. It's not just like some pop song. I mean, there's a lot more depth to it. So really, from that moment on, outside of just working with Will, with kind of exploring what this film was going to evolve to, a lot of times we would just throw in some music, especially for me, not having a lot of actors to work with. I'd look at NASA books, I'd look at books, some of the books that Will used to actually build the space station, and then kind of a lot of times I'd put just a few songs that touched me and would use that to kind of get into a mode or a mood, you know.
Visually, Will, do you want to talk about?
Just visually, the cool part was, you know, while we were building, we were able to make that evolution a lot of the time in terms of how, you know, messed up the station was getting, and there was a lot of little serendipitous things, like the coat that he's wearing towards the end, that's kind of like, and he makes that little fort within the station, and he covers up all the windows. It's because he doesn't really want to accept anymore that he's stuck in space, so he tries to sort of build this little environment within an environment and sort of find his way into a comfort zone by always being in a coat, by having this little tent within the ship, and by covering all the windows so we can't see out. So that's like a big part of that sort of isolation and creeping in further and further sort of during the film.
Let me say something more about that. Is that being such a small movie and it's basically, you know, Will and a couple people and Gunnar doesn't have a continuity person and stuff like that. This movie was shot over the course of